Welcome to Copilot Connection.
We're here to share with you all the news, insights, and capabilities of the Microsoft Copilot ecosystem across the entire Microsoft stack. I'm Zoe Wilson, and I'm an executive at Avanade in our modern work business. I'm also an MVP and a regional director.
And I'm Kevin McDonnell, also an MVP, Viva Explorer, architect at Avanade. Still have to look at my notes to remind myself what I'm saying from these, despite us being into episode 7, which is slightly embarrassing. But we will continue to release episodes as podcasts on YouTube. We'll bring insights from experts across the community of Microsoft on all the different areas of Copilot. We'll talk about the impact they make to you and your organization, what you need to do to prepare for them or to start implementing them now, and even how you can extend them.
So this week, we're on the countdown to Christmas. We've both finished work for the year. We're fully embracing the holiday season. You can see Kevin's in his festive jumper. We've both got the lights, the trees in our offices. And with that, we wanted to gift you another episode that you can enjoy just in time for Christmas. So perhaps you're escaping the family for an hour, going for a run, or just want some downtime and a bit of peace and quiet. Even though it's the holiday season, though, and actually, it feels like the last couple of weeks have been really quiet with people logging off already. But the world of AI doesn't slow down. And so we'll be sharing some of the latest news, as well as even more of the videos that Kevin recorded while he was at ESPC. But first, Kevin, you shared on social earlier this week that we've hit a couple of milestones at Copilot Connection.
Yeah, a couple of fantastic milestones. Obviously, we used AI a little bit to celebrate with some designer pictures, but we've hit 1,000 downloads of the podcast, which is fantastic. So happy to hit that number so quickly. And also 500 followers on LinkedIn, which is really, really great. And I know you often message me and say, it's going up again. It's going up again. It's just amazing seeing the growth that's happening on LinkedIn as well. And the engagement we're getting from that. That's a bit I really like. So please do carry on commenting on the posts we're making. Try and reshare some of the articles that we talk about in the show. Often try and share it there first, and then it's a useful way to come back to remind us what we should be talking about in the news as well. But also a reminder for people, we mentioned it. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, just a reminder for people, one of the things we have shared about is the Custom Copilot Connection Challenge. So we're still running with that, still looking to get some entries. I was having a chat with Paul Bullock the other day about some of the things he's put together and hopefully get him onto the show to talk about that. I've been working on my own from that and would very happily buy myself some Lego so contribute to that one. I wish that it's been interesting. I've managed to get transcription done of all the Ignite videos that have been there. I've managed to convert them and load them into search, but the format hasn't worked very well to bring content out. So it's been a really good learning experience with that. I'm now trying to change some of the content to make it a little bit easier for it to query with that. And we'll be talking about it on one of the, I need to check what it's called because it's not the PMP show, but one of the Microsoft 365 community calls that go around. I will be sharing that story, so I've got to get it working fairly soon anyway.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I'll be really as you get it working, I'll be really interested to learn more about the different challenges and how you've overcome it. And for anybody else who's trying this as well, so with Paul, are you actually kind of sharing some of these challenges and how you're overcoming them? Are you approaching things in similar, different ways?
We're sharing a bit, but we've also said that we want to go our own way. So more talking about where we're hitting common challenges, but not that we're keeping things secret. It's more we want to see how we approach it, and we've already seen that's been a bit different. He's gone very much down the blog route, so looking at the kind of ready-made content, whereas I've gone down the let's get the video, let's get the transcriptions and what people are saying from there. And he's obviously getting slightly less content because there's not quite as much in the blogs, but it's kind of all in some ways auto summarized, whereas I'm going for the bigger, larger amount of content. But as we love to do, people waffle a little bit on there. So it doesn't always, it's a little bit harder to extract the information. from it. And I know the MVPs and regional directors have been, the M365 MVPs have been very lucky to get onto the Copilot sandbox, and it's been interesting seeing different people play there. And one of the things Paul's done is to put that content he's put on there to see how Copilot handles it as well. So as you see, different ways, but maybe, I think we'll probably have a dedicated show, maybe talking about a bit about the different ways people have approached that.
Yeah, I think that would be quite good. Maybe get a few of the developer types to come and talk about, the different things they've been doing and how they approached it.
Yeah.
Now just going back to
And I know,
LinkedIn.
and I genuinely can't remember who it was, but someone's looked at doing it with Copilot Studio, so it's that low code approach that we can bring into it as well. Be good.
Yeah, definitely. Now, just back on the LinkedIn thing. I know I do keep messaging you saying that the numbers have gone up, but it's just so to me, it's so powerful because it demonstrates how much genuine interest there is and how much desire
Yeah.
from people to actually understand all of the things that are happening in this new world of co-pilots. And I just wanted to give Tom a shout out as well for the lovely shout out he gave our podcast on his show the other day as well.
This is Tom Morgan.
Tom Morgan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was lovely.
Not
So thanks,
not
Tommy.
as when I was searching for his channel to try and find that, not Tom Morgan from the Undateables. There is a different one. We're talking about the MVP Teams developer side of things.
Yeah, no, that was lovely. And thanks, Tom, if you're listening.
He's going to shout at me
Right,
now for
okay,
mentioning
so
that.
so where are we starting today then, Kevin? I think you've got something for Copilot for sales.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, you say that. It says here, what's new in Sales Copilot? So, just to really kick off a bit of debate around naming and things like this, I think, well, this has got me wondering now around the naming. Maybe we'll come back to that. But what I really liked from this information here is that enable support for creating leads directly in that Sales Copilot. And what really I liked about this was it feels like the next evolution of Copilot, where we're seeing a lot of kind of pulling knowledge out from Copilot, learning, having creative examples. And I know in things like Word and Excel that you can create content on there, create elements there, but it's not necessarily doing things. It very rarely is writing to other systems. And I know from a lot of people have said, I'd love it if I could log tasks. This feels like that first step in that direction. So this is that ability within the chat to actually be able to add a lead and have that conversation within there. So it's starting to do that right into other systems, as well as you can see from here on the right pane from that. So I think it will be interesting to see how this evolution happens and how comfortable people feel with that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, if you look at Copilot for Microsoft 365, I know that's the one we default back to, but that's the one we've been using for quite a while. One of the things that I've said right from when I first got access to it was that for me, where it will become incredibly powerful, even more than it already is where you can start to automatically take action. So I know the intent is that you can do this with plugins, but actually, if I can instantly create tasks and meeting requests and emails and all of those things from directly within that Copilot chat interface, I think that will be super powerful.
Yeah.
And actually, I was on a call with someone from Microsoft last week. This was with a disability organization where I'd been brought in because of the interest I have in kind of the accessibility benefits of Copilot. And they demonstrated something in Windows Copilot, which was really interesting. And they said, I've got, you could imagine saying, I'm a person with ADHD or I'm autistic. What Windows settings will help me? And in the demo that they showed, this was actually live in their Windows Copilot, it came up with all of the settings that could help. and the buttons inside Windows Copilot to automatically turn them on. So you could automatically turn on dark mode or focus mode or any of these other things that it was suggesting. Now, I've just tested that on my Windows Copilot and it's not working for me yet. So I'm assuming that this is some
Yeah,
kind of
I think that's something coming, isn't it?
yeah, but that was super interesting to me. And you can start to see the power that this will have.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I think Copilot for Windows, in Windows. I'm going to get that the wrong way around, but that's really going to get stronger. I think. We've seen an earlier edition, which is effectively just bringing up that generic Copilot capability with a couple of things. So as we bring more of those settings in, it'll get more interesting. Is it worth coming back to that sales Copilot versus Copilot for sales and clarifying the difference for people? Because I know you and I spent quite a long time correcting people, both at work, outside work, at Microsoft, across the board. And now you might want to correct me if I'm wrong here as well. Sales Copilot, that's the kind of existing that came from Viva, Viva Sales, that ability to kind of pick up from Dynamics and other areas there, versus Copilot for Sales, which is the wider aspect on there. It's including the Microsoft 365, sorry, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 within there. It's going to be able to connect into a lot more things. So I think there's a transition between that. And yes, I am going to put my hand up. I can see your message in the private chat saying that I put it in the notes on that. I think there is a little bit of confusion with sales about that, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you're right to call it out, and I think for me, I mean, it's not even Copilot in sales, is it? Because you've got Copilot
No,
in
no.
Dynamics 365 sales, which is where you've got it in that embedded Dynamics experience. But for me, it's still Sales Copilot. It's the add-in for the Office apps for Outlook and Teams, and that will
Yeah,
integrate with
it's that
things like
specific
Copilot Chat.
capability, not the
Yeah,
license, isn't it? That's the
yeah.
sales Copilot. Whether we see some renaming of that, it doesn't feel like it fits with the rest of the name. Who knows? But yeah,
Mm.
it's certainly interesting and trying to keep honest with the names and things on there. Um, another nice bit of news, and this was spots from fellow MVP Alex Chandiwana, who noticed that there's been an update to Microsoft SwiftKey, which if you didn't know is the AI keyboard. It's very nice, uh, kind of works out what you're trying to say a lot quicker within there. But now they've brought Bing into this, and effectively what they mean is Microsoft Copilot. Obviously, they haven't updated the naming within there. But it gives you another way of getting into Copilot right from within your keyboard. And Alexio has put some lovely links on this. I'm hoping that video is going to play any second now. No, it's not. But it kind of shows that you can do it from your keyboard. So in fact, yeah, you can see the different pictures. So it doesn't really matter where you are. And we've seen this kind of embedding within other systems. We've seen this capability of kind of bringing it into Edge, and I know we'll talk a bit about some of the new features of that in a minute. But this means if you've got a phone, and this is for Android and for iOS, you can kind of ask those questions wherever you are and bring those answers into your chat. And I think it's that AI everywhere that's really coming from this that is very interesting.
So just to expand on that, that would mean that if I have this on my phone, I can use this inside WhatsApp when I'm messaging you, and I could
Yep.
generate AI images using DALL-E 3 directly using Microsoft Copilot, the artist formerly known as Bing.
Yeah, your favorite new phrase. I did use that. That actually was with Sarah we were chatting with, wasn't it? And she was like, "Can you stop using acronyms? I don't understand."
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So I saw this, but I haven't actually downloaded it yet. So I can tell you what I'll be
No.
testing as soon as we finish recording this.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting. And going back to other things on Twitter, yeah, I know it's kind of called X, but I'm not going to call it that for now. Our and we laughed about this before recording, but friend of the show, Dona Sarkar's got some lovely new content out. So she's been fantastic. I retweeted this and said I think I've seen about 3 times, maybe even 4 times this year since she started speaking a lot about AI. And every time I've seen her, there's been a different way of looking at that. What she's done is to combine a lot of that content and make it available as modules. So how does it affect you? How can you really start? I love that module 10. What should I do next? And she's been giving people challenges as part of this. So she's made these available at a cost, but a very low cost for the fantastic content that's in there. So if you're looking for a
And
course to
is
get
it
started on AI, yeah, it's well worth looking at that.
and is it challenges, Kevin, or is it homework? Home. I think it's always homework with Donna, isn't it?
It is always homework within there. No, that's a good point. I was just looking,
Yeah.
she doesn't mention homework in there as well.
No,
So, but
but
yes,
but
yes, you are
but
right.
you said she's been giving people challenges. I think what she's actually been doing is volunteering all of us to get involved in stuff and giving us homework. And just actually, the other thing that Donna posted on LinkedIn this last week, which was super interesting, was details of a workshop that she is intending to run in the new year. So if you don't work with AI at the moment and you're interested in understanding how to get involved in or how to move into a career that's focused on AI, if you find Donna's post and comment with the hashtag AI career, she'll reach out with details of a workshop that she's doing. And I actually joined one of her like coaching workshops. I think probably this time I signed up for it this time last year, which was fantastic. I'd highly recommend it.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'll try and get the link of that. Make sure we put that into the show notes as well. There was something else she was talking about, which links nicely onto the next post, and that was the some of the abilities of Microsoft Copilot, the artist formerly known as Bing Chat and Bing Chat Enterprise. And kind of the latest models. So the fact they've brought that GPT-4 Turbo, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in the next show and what that means. But effectively, it's the latest model from OpenAI. It's not that GPT-5, but it's brought in more capabilities to generate responses, tackle more complex and longer tasks. So you can put more Okay, I'm not going to talk about tokens and confuse people without preempting that. There's a lot more you can bring into that. The new DALL-E 3 model with a lot more capabilities within there. You can see the different versions of that. I'm not quite sure. A photorealistic Stegosaurus having its bony plates attended to by a nail salon. I love that picture.
Yeah, I
Hadn't really
mean,
taken that on board
yeah.
before.
And I mean, we kind of talked about this on the last show, didn't we? With reference to how much Microsoft Designer has improved over the last year, and essentially that's using the same model as or the same models for image generation as Bing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's more of that multi-model for search grounding, bringing together the Bing image search as well as the web search data. And these continual improvements, you mentioned at the start, Zoe, that AI is not slowing down. It's absolutely bring these things, that code interpreter to kind of analyze what code is doing. And the one that Donna talked about that is absolutely amazing is that ability to understand video. So if you've got a video, I don't know if it's just YouTube, but certainly any videos on there that it will start to take the transcript from those and be able to summarize the video. So you can kind of catch on that. And especially, I see this particularly useful if you remember there was something in a video, you can't remember where it was, use Copilot, summarize that and help you jump to that portion where they're talking about that element on there as well. So a lot of really
Yeah,
nice functionality with that.
yeah, I see this being really really useful for me because I I read really quickly. So if there's like if I have a choice between watching a video for 20 minutes or reading something that has the same level of detail that might take me, less than 5 minutes, I'll always
Yeah.
want to do the second, but sometimes you can't get hold of the content in that format. So if I can open this in Edge and use that Copilot chat sidebar and ask it questions about what's in the video, that's going to be a massive time saver for me.
Yeah. Of course, having said that, I would encourage everyone to watch the whole of Copilot Connection if you are watching on YouTube. But yes, that capability is in there when you want to go back to it afterwards on there, obviously. Coming back a little bit to the image creation, and I think we talked a bit about this in the last show of the kind of biases that are still in there with the image creation. I love this post from Leon Armstrong, he was testing out Copilot, decided to create a presentation about cricket, and ended up with a suggestion of a baseball within there. And I don't know if people can see down the left, looks like they've got a picture of a football team on there and more baseball players. So I actually encouraged him to tag Satya on this one, and say, come on, surely you can make sure it knows what cricket is with this. But I thought it was quite
Yeah, but
interesting. It's that bias that we have on the
the,
content.
yeah, so I actually don't think that this is necessarily biasing Copilot, because this is
You think it's a
in
bias in the world?
Copilot for Microsoft 365. No, I think this is metadata. Because when Copilot in PowerPoint is generating slides, it is pulling images. It's not auto generating all of these using AI. It's pulling the images that match the content from an asset library that Microsoft have put together. So you do sometimes end up with really weird image selections. So what I think has happened in this instance is that it's just looking for ball. It's just looking, it knows cricket is a sport that has a ball. So it's just looking for things that have got that metadata tag of ball, which is why you're ending up with like random balls.
I just think it's pure prejudice and hating on cricket. It's outrageous.
Yeah, I can still see
But I
Sachi
mean,
trying to fix this though.
yeah, I did feel a bit guilty of the thought that Satya did see that and suddenly went on a storm and got people up very late on there. But I'm sure he's a lot nicer than that on there. But it did kind of come onto a chat that we had. We mentioned that in the last episode that Sarah created the image about cats at a conference, and the whole front row were men. So while this is a kind of funnier side, that bias is still in there. And Sarah actually took that a bit further and started looking at. I can't quite see on here. I wonder if I can zoom in there. Zoom in a little bit more, of creating an executive with grey hair but still looking cool, pointing at the viewer with a look of and what about you, pastel multicolored background, mesh water style. So for those who can't see this, who are listening on there, she tried it with 3 different settings of creative, precise and balanced. And what was very interesting was only the creative one, and only one of the 4 options actually came up with someone who was female there.
Yeah. And are they all white as well? They're all white, aren't they?
Yeah, all white, yeah, possibly a touch of the Pierce Brosnan. Maybe it's, I think that's a tan. Nothing else there, but yeah, generally certainly looking white.
Yeah. So, and I
Yeah,
mean, a huge thank you to
the short
Sarah Feder
answer
for
there.
actually. Sarah actually
Mm,
created this image in a really nice format that we could share. But I think it makes a really powerful point around the bias that we can still see really easily within these AI systems.
yeah, and I know Microsoft are looking at this. They're looking at these biases and how they can effectively put them in without upsetting people, without kind of putting their own biases in within that. So I think it's a tricky balance, but I think the more we can see and more we can note in that. And what I would say with these, if I bring the picture back up and zoom in a bit, you'll see that there's a thumbs up and thumbs down. So if you see things in there that you don't agree with, add that feedback to Microsoft, because that's how they'll be able to change it and kind of note, right, these are the things that we do need to look at as well. God, you've brought a lot of news into this one. It's going to be a long old show. Next bit of news was a nice one that you noted on there about the year in review and looking at the Copilot. So it's a good article, but I think the one bit you noted on there, Zoe, was the plugins that are coming from it.
Yeah, so I really love the fact that we're actually starting to see examples of how people are building plugins for the Copilot ecosystem in action. So this one is for virtual whiteboards and intelligent diagramming or like workflows, so similar to Visio, but being able to do that from that Copilot interface. And
Mm.
then there was another one. So this is for Microsoft 365 Copilot, I think, isn't it? But there was another
Yeah,
plugin
yeah, it
which
was
was super interesting as well. Again,
very
for
excited about this one.
Microsoft Copilot, the artist formerly known as Bing. I don't know why we can't just still call it Bing. I feel, I feel like I really need to make an effort to call the
God,
things by their proper name, but
I know
it's just so
it's hard.
confusing.
Yep.
So confusing. So yeah, this was another plugin. I mean, you could see examples of some of the other Bing plugin Copilot in this GIF as well. And for those of you who are
Yeah.
listening, we will put the link to this in the show notes. But the GIF that's playing on screen is basically it's inside that Copilot interface with a number of different plugins that you can select from. And the one that this article talks about is Suno, which is it's like AI generated music. So you can actually just use a prompt and get it to bring musical ideas to life.
Which is a great idea. I wish we thought of that, Zoe, and maybe had actually, and we haven't talked about this before. We didn't use Suno, but and I've suddenly forgotten what the name of the one we did use. But the theme tune for Copilot Connection was actually created through AI. Asked about a prompt, I think I used the word big beat or something like that on there. I wanted the noise of an aircraft to talk about that Copilot. And if you listen carefully, there is a bit of an aircraft theme for it. Yeah, and it came up with that. I haven't played with Suno yet, but I've seen a lot of talk about it on Twitter recently of it just coming up with amazing. I think it comes up with vocals as well, which is just mind blowing on there. I
Yeah.
think it's scary for artists out there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about has it been trained on real songs, and therefore, what about those artists who've created that? Are they going to get recognised within there? And I think it's a valid discussion and debate to be had on there. But by the same token, it's very cool.
Yeah, we'll have to have a play with that and see if we can get some examples that we can share on our social channels. We did
Yeah,
also use AI to generate the logo for the Copilot Connection as well, didn't we?
that's
And
true.
that must have took
Yeah,
us. How many images did we actually generate? About 50.
I yeah, and I was gonna say, did we get to triple figures? Probably not quite, but it wasn't far off on there. And I thought what was interesting about when we did do that is there's one that we quite liked, similar to the logo we had, but I only had one person. It was like, right, can we now duplicate this with two? And trying to get that same prompt to kind of get two
Mm.
people in the same style just never quite worked. It's funny. I was thinking the other day actually with the new GPT-4 Turbo and that ability to put an image, describe it, and then kind of play that back, whether that might help at all. But
Yeah,
that's
that's
something
interesting.
to wonder for another time.
Yeah, so I don't want to update the logo or anything like that, but actually with them improving the image generation, I do wonder how many attempts it would take us to get something that we'd like.
Yeah. I think what it does show is that AI cannot stop fussy people from being fussy, and the pair of us together trying to get agreement on something was probably as much the issue. I did want to
Yes.
come back to something that was interesting on those plugins, and I think we'll talk about this more next week about the types of plugin. But I've seen a lot of OpenAI style plugins for Copilot for Microsoft 365. This is the first time I've seen a third party look at those graph connectors. So, if you're interested in what that means and why I'm intrigued about that, make sure you tune in for the next episode, and hopefully the one after that we might have a special guest on to come and talk about things there. But that's really interesting to see the different types coming through, especially for anyone who came to ESPC and saw my graph connector session on that as well. Talking of ESPC, do you think it's time to play some of those interviews out?
I certainly do.
So
Who
we've
have you
got
got lined up for
three.
us first?
got 3 more interviews that we're gonna stick around, so, listen to those. First, we've got the amazing Heather Cook, who's, just such a powerful force in the community from the Microsoft side. We have a lovely Karoliina, I've gotta make sure I get the pronunciation, Karoliina Kettukari. I've gradually been practicing that a lot, and I hope I'm getting it close there, Karoliina. And then also, someone who hadn't met before, actually someone I was introduced to by Mark Cashman. I was asking if he'd like to come on the show. He's like, I don't do much with Copilot, but I have here my lovely colleague at Microsoft, Gabriel Ho, who's the marketing manager around Copilot. And let's be honest, we tend to have slightly older people on the show because that's our demographic. It was nice to bring someone a bit younger on the show as well. So we'll hear from him. But shall I cue up Heather first?
Sounds like a plan.
Hello, I'm here again at ESPC, and I have Heather, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
So wonderful to see you. So yay, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Cook. I'm a Principal PM Manager over at Microsoft in the Business Applications and Platforms division. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, first question. What does Copilot mean to you?
Well, Copilot means to me faster and quicker because I use Copilot and I've been using ChatGPT and I'm using Bing Enterprise as well. But Copilot to me is just a way for us to go faster. I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of creating one-pagers and papers and all of that kind of thing. So it's, for me, I'm using it to take like strategy and, give it a zhuzh, if you will. Also, I'm really excited about...
That does seem to be the phrase of the conference, a bit of a zhuzh. I think that's come up a couple of times, hasn't it? I've like that.
Yeah, and the new feature that's coming out to where you can take a paper and turn it into a PowerPoint slide deck. Yeah. For me, that's lit. I mean, because we do a little bit of both, and depending on who you're working with, say as inside of Microsoft, sometimes I need to do a paper, sometimes I need to do slides, and a lot of the times I need to do both. Yeah. So for me, being able to have Copilot do that for me,
accelerate that move.
I cannot wait.
Absolutely agree on that one.
Yep.
No, it's great
for sure.
And what do you think then the biggest transformation will be for people with Copilot?
I think hopefully it's sort of similar, is that they'll be able to do things faster, more productive. I think, like we were talking about in another session, was talking about how it's like with AI, thinking about, well, do you start with AI or do you end with AI in a way?
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it's like, do you have it start for you and then you go in and edit it and make it your own and Heatherize it or, UIze it, or is it that...
That should be a button to Heatherize it. That would be... I'm imagining sparkles and glowing LEDs after the AvePoint party last night.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So it's like, it's sort of thinking about that, like how do you use it, when do you use it? And so I think biggest transformation for people will be just the learning how to create the prompts really as well. I think that's and that's sort of like how to get ready for that is to practice. I mean, practice your prompts. And
you've got Bing chats, Microsoft Copilots there that you can go and do things with, so you can get started straight away, which is great.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I guess on that's kind of answered the question of what the most important thing to do is to kind of prep for that, is get practicing on prompts. Is there anything else you think's for getting ready for Copilots?
I think talking about it and talking about what it is, going and checking out, the documentation, adoption.microsoft.com has got all of that information, especially, most people are going to be in Copilot for Microsoft 365, right? That's ubiquitous. That's our, productivity suite. So that's where I think a lot of people will probably start. And then also you can go on to Copilot, just out on the web now and check it out there too. So I say just go play, go kind of see what it's about. It's sort of like, with search engines, we didn't really have an instruction manual for those. There is a heck of a lot more documentation for Copilot, but it's about going to play, going to see what you can do. A lot of people are doing, have done with ChatGPT, find me a recipe that's gluten-free for this or that, or like plan my vacation and that kind of stuff. And so that's a great way to get started, and then bringing it into your business and your enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely on that. And so is there anything I'm guessing you've seen quite a few things ahead of time, but is there anything particularly at ESPC either you've seen or maybe you've heard people talk about a lot that's kind of jumped out?
What's funny, I haven't seen as much as you would think of some of when I was like, what? This is amazing. I was like, okay.
It's nice to stop and think at these conferences, isn't it? By getting away from the day job and hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I love is a bunch of the human side of it. I think there's been a lot of talk about how AI is going to replace us and take our jobs and all of that. And I think that, human beings are always needed, and and our take on it, our look at it, our making sure that it is correct and right and responsible and all of those things is really important. And so I think a lot of the talking about how humans use software and what the business outcomes are. I think that's the stuff that really gets me excited.
Karoliina's session, talking about those business outcomes, focus on how you get to those, not anything else, was really good.
Absolutely.
And it's been interesting. I know Copilot Studios sort of in your world and things like that. I haven't heard so many people talking about that here. I don't know if it's because it's a SharePoint conference and there's a lot of developers, but I kind of thought there'd be more of a buzz around that. It's really interesting.
I think it's super brand new. I mean, it just got announced at Ignite 2 weeks ago, which was like a blink, and there was a holiday in there for the folks in the U.S. and some other things. So I feel like it will become part of the vernacular very soon, because it is the way to build and extend your own Copilot. The other thing is I think as more people get their hands on it too. So right now there's been a big preview and all of that. So more people who actually start getting licenses, and as it gets rolled out and all of that, it will become, I think, the talk of the town and the buzz when people get fingers to keyboard there soon. So.
From that.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you want to see next with Copilot? And we've had some lovely questions, especially Dona Sarkar had a lovely one, but I'll tell you that afterwards.
Yeah, tell me after. I think with Copilot, I think, what I have really enjoyed so far is just thinking about how I can use it in my day-to-day job and also in the community. I'm really looking forward to what a community Copilot will be, and how we can, we all share and help each other. People create videos, people create blogs and all of that, right? Well, what about, using that, on our community platforms and sites to say, hey, I want to see all the new blogs across from said MVP or from, this particular topic, or, so you're creating that, the generative answers basically across all of the different Microsoft communities. And I think because we have a lot of them that are not connected yet, right? Unfortunately. So I think, to me, using Copilot as a community Copilot that's going to go get all of that stuff and be that aggregator for people, really nice. I think that is really exciting. And that's something that I'm putting my hands to very soon.
Absolutely. I've just interviewed Anoop Patati, and he was just speaking to some of the organisers here and said, here, can I show you something? Didn't mention this on the interview. He's just built a custom Copilot that takes all the speaker information and you can chat. So you can ask, when is the speaker drinks? When have I got to be here? Nice. And it just answers the question. They were like, right, we need to get you here for next year. We need to get this happening.
No,
and it's those small things are just simple, quick, easy. Well, and
like the speaker, we've been talking a lot about a speaker bureau as well, a bureau, you know.
And I suppose because you've got all the community initiatives that you look after.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a lot of times when we're looking for speakers at Microsoft to do certain things, and then other times when event producers are like, I'd love to get a speaker on X topic. Yeah. Well, they don't necessarily know who to talk to or who's doing that feature or who's working on that product. If there's a way we could use Copilot to aggregate all of that information as well about community speakers, about internal speakers, what their specialties are, all of that kind of thing. Yeah. And it was self-service. Now we're talking.
Ideas coming from these conferences, aren't there? It's like, that could work.
Yeah.
Well, that's been fantastic. Thank you. Any last words, Heather? Or
I thank you. To you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for being such an amazing part of the community. And everybody, keep that feedback coming. We love hearing your ideas and what you want. This is a brand new kind of world for all of us, and we're all learning at the same time. So keep that feedback up and let us know how we can support you, and happy to say hello to all of you in the community. So, yay.
Thank you very much, Heather. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.
A lovely little interview with Heather there again. And there were a few bits I particularly love from that, apart from the fact to chat with her and talk about her beautiful outfit from the Av Point Red Party. Managed to get it spelt right there. We were chatting a little bit about for this. One of the phrases that came up a lot in ESPC was the ability of Copilot to give a little bit of a zhuzh. if any of you out there know how to spell zhuzh, if you could message into the show, because I have no idea how it's spelt on there, but it was a repeated phrase I heard from a few different people, and I quite liked about that. It just a little bit of magic and sparkle to things you do.
Have you tried asking Copilot?
No, because I don't know how to spell it, so I can't ask it. Maybe
Can you not ask it with? Can you not use some of the interfaces will have mic input? Just ask it with your voice.
Oh, that is not a bad idea.
Yeah, so do that afterwards and let me know how you get on. I love Heather though. I think she's just fantastic, and I love that she's calling out the human side, that she's talking about it enabling her to go faster and quicker, and I think that's something that we're just seeing across the board with Copilot.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I know, commented it when she said it, that note of, do you start with AI or do you end with AI? I thought was a really nice way of thinking about it. We've talked a lot about that blank page, and we've talked about that idea that you can kind of put things across in your voice and then change it. But that thought of actively saying, do I want to play AI before I start doing things? Do I want to put things out as me and then have AI change it? To actively think about it in those two different ways, I thought was really nice.
Yeah, and for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with both starting and ending with AI.
No,
because you can use it to give you the ideas and get you over the blank page, and then you put all of your goodness into the content, and then use AI again just to do the final polish and editing before you put it out there.
Yeah, but it's that thinking about where you use it actively, and there's slightly different ways you'd use it at different points in your kind of creative journey, or your journey of what you're doing with your content, which I thought was very interesting. So should we go on to the next one with Karoliina? And you're probably going, why is Kev chuckling here? I am going to cut out the bit from the beginning where and Zoe saw this earlier and messaged me and chuckled about it, where I was showing off because I was actually wearing my clippy socks that day, as the father of Copilot, as the sticker has been going around. So if you see us chuckling slightly at the beginning, that's because we just had that conversation there as well. And I do apologize, there was a little bit of interruption. If you're listening to this, you won't be able to see, but go back and check out on YouTube, and you'll see how we got interrupted by a dog on there. But it is Karoliina Kettukari of Melt Lake. Hello, I'm here again at ESPC, and I have Karoliina with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I'm Karoliina Kettukari. I come from Finland, and I'm the head of modern work at Melt Lake.
Fantastic. So, got a few Copilot questions, and we're going to kick off with, what does Copilot mean to you?
Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamt of having this assistant to do everything for me. And now with Copilot, I feel like maybe I have this virtual version of that assistant.
It's funny, Zoe interviewed Dona Sarkar at Ignite, and she said she wanted a Copilot would help her tidy up her room and book all her travel, and I was and sort it all out. I was like, that would be nice. Yeah, a full assistant that does everything would be great. But absolutely. So what do you think will be the biggest transformation to people with Copilot?
I really like the slide from Microsoft that says that Copilot is a new way of working. And we've gone through a whole new way of working with the pandemic and remote working, and now yet again we have to really think of new ways to communicate, collaborate, create new information, and I think that's one of the biggest transformations for every employee.
Absolutely, and it's affect everyone. So what do you think is the most important thing to do to prep for Copilot and be ready for it?
Should I say data quality? No. I would actually say that you have to think of the whole AI strategy in your organization and see the big picture, have a roadmap for upskilling, use cases, training needs, Copilot plugins, whatever. So just like putting on the licenses is not enough.
Absolutely, yeah, and I love that kind of full end-to-end planning ahead for it as well, and we're seeing a lot of that. So we're here at ESPC. It's been some great sessions, big keynotes. Is there anything you've seen from a Copilot perspective that was kind of new and interesting to you, or jumped out?
Yeah, there was an excellent session from Vesa Juvonen and Fabio. with no shoes, just a socks on, of course, about Copilot extensions and plugins. And they showed really good examples of sample plugins, for example, and that was something I really need to dig in more.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited. And I think this will be out after Copilot, after we finished here. But if you happen to be around tomorrow, there's even more on Graph Search connectors from your truly. So yeah, even more Copilot there. But what is it that you want to see next with Copilot? What's your dream change?
I actually want to see that Copilot will help people to... I'm just looking at a robotic dog in front of us.
I'm just going to hang on. Sorry, everyone. There is a robot dog walking around. So a true Copilot has entirely distracted us. So it's, maybe that's what you want to see next. That is your real helper that's going to come and help tidy the room as well, maybe. But
I've seen a ballet dance performance with that kind of robot.
Oh, really?
And I said during the performance that when I grow up, I want to be a robotic dog ballet dance instructor.
Okay. So, I'm glad you added instructor. I thought you were going to say you wanted to be a ballet dog, a robot dog for a minute.
Yeah. But, so hopefully that will be next.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great time for the rest of the conference.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So thank you to Karoliina for that one. And did we comment on last week's show about how cool the Copilot Connection stickers look on the mics there? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think we did, but I still think they look cool every time.
Yeah. So sorry for repeating ourselves there and being smug about that. But yeah, I loved Karoliina's intro there.
Yeah, tell me about the robot dog. I know you said interrupted by a dog, but you didn't qualify or clarify for everyone before the video that it was actually a robot dog.
I know, and I'm giving that kind of lead in and make people want to watch it as well. But yeah, it was Veeam had one of those Boston Dynamics dogs as part of the show that kind of went round there and kind of entertained people, interrupted and distracted them and tripped them up in some cases. But no, it was quite impressive. Although it was interesting in a conference that was so much about AI, so much about Copilot. It was a great robot, very clever, could walk upstairs. They kind of had it going up and down the stand in different bits, could do little dances. But it needed a lot of control. It was very much click a button and tell it what you want it to do, and it will adapt to the scenarios. But it wasn't kind of going around and doing things. I know we talked about it there about Karoliina wanting it to be her robot ballet instructor. But it was funny how that, certainly for me, it felt not outdated, but a little bit behind. It's like, yeah, it's a very cool, impressive robot. But what can it do on its own? You've got to trade it. You've got to do things for it on there. So
what you're saying, what you're saying is that when they integrate a Copilot plugin so that you can control the robot dog using Copilot,
go and fetch me a beer and open it, then I'm all over that robot dog. That's perfect. Although I literally lost count. I definitely got into double figures of people when they saw it went, oh, I've seen that episode of Black Mirror. I'm expecting machine guns on the side of that. I don't like that at all. So that did come up an awful lot, which isn't the best advertising from them. But no, I think in terms of what Karoliina was talking about, one of the things I put out, it's hard with these because, common themes come of that about preparing data quality and things like that. But one thing that Karoliina said that a lot of people haven't said is around thinking about that strategy. So before you've brought Copilot in, think about your strategy across the organization. Think about that big picture that AI sits in and where Copilot will play into that. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. For me, I think over the last 6 months, what a lot of organizations have been doing is just learning and experimenting and testing. And we're at the point now where people are actually starting to tie it. If they're not doing it already, they're starting to tie it into their broader AI strategy and into that overall strategy for their organization. And that side of it, along with the people impact, I think is absolutely key to understand before you rush headlong into buying something and trying to roll it out to everybody without actually understanding what the reasons that you're doing that.
Organizations wouldn't do that, surely. No comment.
All right,
Yes,
so
moving
last video.
swiftly on. Absolutely on that. So yeah, as I mentioned, but before the videos, it was great to have a name which many in the community probably haven't met before. So probably introducing to many of you, Gabriel Ho. And here I am for another interview here at ESPC. Gabe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hi, my name is Gabe Ho. I am a product marketing manager for Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Fantastic. So, what does Copilot mean to you?
Yeah, I feel
apart from obviously a job
Right.
and things like that. But,
No, well, I've been privileged enough to be able to use it at Microsoft and in my work. I think the most impactful stuff is that it's allowed me to be more creative.
Nice.
It's unlocked a lot of time to be able to think through things, refine things better, because you don't have to fatigue yourself starting and getting through starting a blog, a slide deck, an article, whatever it might be. Being able to work with a Copilot partner to start it and then be able to exercise that creativity.
Yeah,
to
focus on making the magic
Yes.
happen, not the boring bits and things like that. Nice.
So that's been fun. That's been really nice for me. Yeah.
And I know I was speaking with Heather Cook earlier, and she talked about that start and end. You know, there's a lot of people who do it at the start, others who create something and then modify it afterwards. Have you sort of tried to do a bit of both of those, or?
Yes,
on that side,
definitely.
is it?
And I think it's once you get into the habit of using it
Yes.
in the how iterative it is, it can come in different ways. Sometimes it's someone sharing something with you and you reacting to it, and then also just bouncing ideas off Copilot, having it surface alternatives and options, gets your own juice system going. It's like being able to have a creative partner to riff off things,
That's a nice
and be
one.
able to basically have those kinds of thoughts and discussions and be able to come up with something refined and better.
Nice. So, what would be the biggest transformation for people then coming into Copilot?
I think it is that ability to. I think people do a lot better when you bring something to them and they're able to react to it. So in much the same way, I think Copilot would unlock a lot more value from people in their ability to deliver higher quality products, whatever that might be, like their content.
And I think that I love what you said there, because a lot of time that's missed. It's that quality. You can use Copilot to improve the quality. It's not necessarily all the content. Yeah, you can churn out a whole load of things, but you can make your stuff better as well. I think it's
Absolutely,
nice, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it's definitely the ability to take yourself to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's the most transformative. And I'm excited to see what people come up with, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that, what do you think is the most important thing that people need to do to prep for Copilot, whether it's organizations or individuals themselves?
For sure. and that's a question we've been getting a lot. I think there's two different parts of it. There's the technical aspect of it, and that's of course getting your tenant data ready, ensuring that your permissions are set. I feel like that's been talked about a lot, and that's where a lot of people. But I think the other part that maybe is less often talked about is the change management aspect of it.
Absolutely.
Upskilling your own users, your own individuals, understanding how to query or how to write a prompt, understanding the limitations of it and what you can do, how to get the most out of it, how you as a user can protect your own documents in an ongoing manner. I think that aspect of things is also equally as important.
Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble here, but you talked about the limitations from things, but I think you're absolutely right. You know, there's been so much talk about this generative AI can do everything, but there's some things it does better than others, and there's kind of, it's maybe not, it's a limitation, but it's a way you do things as well that people need to know to get it in the right, to get the most value from it as well, isn't it?
For sure, yes. And yeah, when I say limitations, it's more like understanding that it should help you start And I think we've heard it. Like,
it works better in some scenarios, doesn't it? Which I think it's fair to say.
Exactly, and I think it's part and parcel of why like Copilot, not autopilot, as cliche as that has become over the last few months.
But I think if you look at the press, generative AI can do anything. It's the thing that the reality is not quite, or certainly it's an evolving world of that. So working out where you get the most from that is vital for the end user as well.
Absolutely, and I think everyone has a different role at an organization. They have different objectives, priorities, and and they would use Copilot in different ways and add value in different ways. So I would say definitely figuring out how it can work best for you is a huge aspect of that.
So I've got a question here. What have you seen at ESPC that makes you want to learn more? But I'm going to say, if you want to take that a different way, because I know that we're over next to the Microsoft stand here. You've been talking to a lot of customers and partners and things. So maybe what have you heard from them as well as what you've learned yourself? Either way.
I think I've had so many great conversations at ESPC so far. A lot of them have been people asking how they can take Copilot to the next level, and I think that's been such a fun and energizing conversation.
What sort of thing when you say next level?
Extending Copilot.
It is the extend,
extending Copilot.
Nice, interesting.
Of course, Copilot Studios created a lot of buzz. And they're looking at how you can refine Copilot potentially into more niche.
So there's sort of custom Copilots, focused areas. So that's been a lot of the conversations that people, and I know on Copilot Connection, we've been talking a lot about this is going to be the next wave that, still a lot of people who need to get onto M365 Copilot for M365 and get moving with that. But really it's that evolution. People will be starting to think ahead about that already now, so they're prepared for it happening.
Absolutely.
And they can, which is great. That's why I really
For sure. And I think just for myself, it's been wonderful just having people come up and talk about how they're thinking about Copilot for their use cases and their organizations, and learning about their industry, what they do, how they're thinking about how Copilot could serve them. Has been just amazing so far.
Okay, nice. So a slightly frivolous question at the end. And obviously we realise you have your non-disclosure agreements and things like that. Feel free to give stuff away, but I don't want you to lose your job over it. So what is it you'd like to see next in the world of Copilot? What would be your ideal thing?
Well, I look after, my primary audience is the admins, and Microsoft 365 admins. And so I'm very excited about the fact that we introduced into private preview the Copilot for Microsoft 365 admins at Ignite.
So just for anyone who hasn't seen it, could you explain what that is?
So while Copilot for Microsoft 365 has been primarily in the end user apps and apps for enterprise, we're introducing Copilot into the admin centers. So the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, SharePoint Admin Center, Teams Admin Center, Exchange Admin Center.
I hadn't realized it was coming across all the different ones as well. That's really nice.
So it's in private preview now. We're starting small. Of course, it's being working for admins. I think the stakes are definitely higher because we want to get it right. So I don't have anything on availability. I will just cut that off there. But I'm very excited about that. I think a lot of generative AI tools have been serving and geared towards end users, and IT admins have had to do a lot to catch up and keep up with everything that an organization wants to do. So I'm excited to see us create generative AI tools that can help serve them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested to see this, because I think also IT admins I do this happens. With generative AI, that's not necessarily, you ask it in a slightly different way, different things happen. So it'd be really interesting to see how they adapt. It's almost that art of generative AI side of it, isn't it? So I think it's going to be fantastic. And really, going back to that earlier point, seeing how people explore and take this in different ways will be, fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a good rest of the conference.
No, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So thanks very much for Gabriel and talking about the elements there. And He was one of those you could tell he hadn't been in the community long, because when I hijacked him and said, "Would you be able to come and talk on the show?" There was a slight look of panic and it's like, "What are you going to ask about? What are the questions?" So I was very nice to him. I gave him the questions and a nice bit of time to think about that, and then hijacked him with comments throughout it. But I thought he handled those very well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I loved the way that he talked about Copilot being a creative partner that you can use to riff
Yeah,
off on things. I thought that was great, and I love the fact that he called out the that whole change management aspect as well.
yeah,
As one of the thing, everybody's talking about getting content ready, but actually, when you think about the people impact of this, I know we just talked about this after Karoliina's video as well, but that people impact, how to upskill users, helping them understand how to write a prompt. If people don't embrace this change, then the change won't happen, and the potential value and benefit of that transformation just won't happen. So I loved that he called those out as well.
yeah, absolutely. Although I just noticed my notes that I said a creative partner to rip ideas instead of riff ideas off. That isn't what you should do, Copilot. Make sure you have the responsible AI and call things out properly there. So that
Brilliant.
was the last of the interviews from ESPC. Now, if you are listening, Adam Harmetz, you might be going, "Hang on, what do you mean last of the interviews?" Well, we will be in contact after Christmas, because unfortunately we had a little. I say we. I had a little technical issue, and it looks like we have a lovely video with no sound. So if anyone out there is good at lip reading and could turn that into a transcription, please get in contact. But otherwise, Adam will be in contact. Would love to get you properly on the show and have a full interview. So we'll be in contact, see if we can organise that. But having spent so long trying to track you down, and you were so patient with me to find the time to then find the sound didn't work, was particularly painful. So hopefully we can make it up to you by having you back on the show for a full interview as well.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And we've got quite a few other guests who are already working with us to schedule recordings in January as well. We will be taking a break now until the new year, but we've got lots of exciting episodes planned for you, lots of exciting interviews. We've got special episodes.
We might sneak in a solo episode. I said this last interviews. It's not quite true, is it? We've got Gary Trinder and Noop Tati. That's hopefully going to get those recorded and put them out in between Christmas and New Year as well. So I'm going to do a solo one on that, talking about the dev side as well. But then after that, we'll be into the new year.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last episode for me of the new year. But we've got tons of stuff planned for you in January. We're really excited. We've got a good few really interesting guests, both from the community and from Microsoft, who want to come and talk to us about Copilot and how it fits into their world, or their part of the Microsoft stack, and the part of the ecosystem that they're playing in.
Yeah, and what we'd love to hear from is we'd love to hear from you about what you want to see. I know one of our colleagues messaged on LinkedIn saying she wanted to hear more about the extension story, so we're definitely going to try and make that happen. Please send us a note, whether you put it out on social media or send us a private DM. Let us know what you want to hear from there, and please, please, please subscribe to the channels. If there's first time listening, hit us on YouTube, add to those follows. We got LinkedIn, Twitter, all those different places. Get the subscriptions going. Ask your friends, your colleagues, your clients, even your family. If you happen to be speaking about Copilot over Christmas Day, and I know Zoe over Christmas is bound to speak to her family about Copilot on there. And in fact, I know I will be in 2 days' time, because my friend messaged me and said, "You're doing Copilot, got some questions over that." So I know Christmas will be a chance to chat about Copilot. Use this opportunity to educate them with the Copilot connection and get them to subscribe as well.
Yeah, I love the fact. I know we've talked about this on other episodes, Kevin, and I know I'm going off script now for us wrapping up the episode.
I'd never do that.
I love the fact that that with this kind of current wave of co-pilots and everybody going AI crazy, people who you'd never taught tech to are actually having conversations with you about Copilot and asking questions. It's like the crossing of the beams. People that I have friendship groups that are just not part of the tech world at all, and I'm having Copilot conversations with them.
But what I love is it means we're not helping them fix their printers. It's fantastic. I love these Copilot conversations.
Yeah, we're teaching them how to prompt instead.
Exactly, exactly. And give us 6 months and we'll be thoroughly fed up with it. But for now, it'll be great.
Yeah. So all that's left to say is thanks very much for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure. This is our 7th episode, and we are really excited about what's in store in 2024. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, have a very happy new year, and I'll catch you in January. Kevin might catch you between now and January.
Thanks very much, all. Have a good Christmas. Bye.
Thank you.